Give me a number.
3,000.
Hmm?
3,000.
300?
3,000.
You go a lot lower. You go a little bit higher. You go a little bit higher. Go higher.
Right down.
You go a lot lower.
350.
You go higher.
Oh. 320.
You go higher.
350.
Higher.
390.
Higher. Higher.
Oh, 450.
Higher.
570.
Oh, there we go. So we have 700 islands and keys here in the Bahamas.
700
Only 36
islands.
are currently populated. Now, just to name a
Mama.
few, we have Nassau, Abaco, Andros, Eleuthera, Cat Island, Berry Island, Acklands. We also have a Great Inagua and a Little Inagua. Now, if you guys sort of go on Google and type in Half Moon Key, you probably wouldn't find enough information. But if you type in the original name, which would be Little San Salvador, you'll find right here where we are. Now, we do have a regular San Salvador, but the name's a bit too long for us to say all the time. So instead of calling San Salvador, we call San Salvador San Sal. So that's San Sal, and then this Little San Salvador should be right here where we are. Now, 97 miles from here would be Nassau, which is the smallest island in the Bahamas and also the capital. Now, a lot of people argue to say what's the difference between an island and a key, and they'll probably ended up by saying the acreage and size, which it isn't 100% correct. Also, the difference between an island and a key would have to depend on the population as well. So somewhere like right here with a resting population of 75, it's definitely considered to be a key instead of an island. And Nassau's population is about over 400,000, so it's definitely considered to be an island instead of a key. Now right now, if you guys look down into the glass, you can probably see some hills, holes, and tiny mountains. So those hills, holes, and tiny mountains are either made by conchs, shrimps, or hermit crabs. We've now just entered the shallowest area here in our lagoon. Normally in these areas, we'd find a lot of sea urchins, maybe spot a few sea stars, they are very rare, and some conch shells as well. Right here is one of our conch shells. Nothing about this shell is artificial. They do just come out of the water like that, nor do we polish or treat them once they're out. But normally how a conch will get across the ocean floor, they have a horn which is similar to one single claw, or for a little slang we like to call it its big toe. It looks like a Bigfoot, so we call it a big toe. So they use their big toe to stick it to the sand, and that's how they get across the ocean floor and make some of those holes that you guys saw earlier. Now conchs, they do grow with their shells their entire life. They don't change or switch them, and some of them actually produce pearls. So if you guys find any pearls in a conch shell, you can just give it to me, okay? Now a lot of people, they do fall in love with the shell, they want to carry them back home. You can once you get the okay from your ship captain. Now once you do that, you just make sure you clear it off really good so it doesn't have a fishy smell when going to customs. Now most likely your captain will say no, because I have almost once you find a conch shell that fits your hand perfectly, it's now recognized as a weapon. You can get what we like to call a good concussion from a conch shell. So a shell like this can break through a glass like this or a car windshield. Not actually I know about the windshield, I just know, okay? We always try to find new ways to repurpose the shell instead of throwing them back into the water. We do this because even though the conchs don't feel pain, they do have a sense of nature. So if they saw a lot of empty broken shells in the water, it would urge them to find a new home. Now some of the ways that I've seen the shell being repurposed, I've seen cutlery tea sets, bowls, ornaments, utensils, instruments, and I've also seen a Christmas tree made strictly out of conch shells and cement. Now my favorite way so far that I've seen the shell being repurposed, the other day I saw somebody cut this top piece off completely, add it to a wall, and they turned it into a faucet so that the water can come out from this side right here. Has anyone ever tried conch before? Yeah. How did you guys have it? Raw? Conch salad? Okay. Well, seeing that it is a delicacy here in the Bahamas, we have to have a limit somewhere. So we're not allowed to eat any conchs that are younger than the age of 5. Now normally you can tell the age of a conch by looking at the thickness or the thinness of its lip. So the thicker the shell, the more mature it would be. The thinner it is, the more of a juvenile that conch would be. So the shell right here would have been about 26 or 27 years old. Now seeing that it is a delicacy, a lot of people say that it tastes like chicken, but that's normally when I stop trusting people because it never does taste like chicken. Well, the best way I can describe it, I would say that it's either similar to ceviche or calamari. Now if I'm introducing them to somebody who's never tried it before, first I would go to Nassau, then I would go to the fish fry. There are different types of conch salad, so I specifically asked for a tropical one holding the pepper. And that's how I like mine personally, but it's also a good way to start if it's your first time trying it. And it has a lot of pineapples, mangoes, orange juice, lime juice, sweet peppers, onions, tomatoes, all that good stuff. Now if you're not a fan of any of those ingredients or allergic, I would definitely go with some conch furs instead of the conch salad. Now, seeing that it is a delicacy, we have over 150 ways that we can prepare it as a dish. So we have conch stew, conch chowder, conch soup, conch and rice, conch and grits, conch pizza, conch quesadillas, conch tacos, steamed conch, fried conch, cracked conch, grilled conch. You name it, pretty much we could conch it.
Let daddy hold it.
Oh, hold on. Yeah. Oh my. There's nothing. What
Right
do you
here
want?
is a live conch. You guys can see its horn, and from certain angles you can also see its eyes as well. And
Wow.
yes, they can see you.
Live.
Now this would be the equivalent to Gary from SpongeBob.
You want to see the live one?
Now if you guys look over to my right at the back, you can see a piece of sound poking out in the middle.
And
Normally
this
when the
way,
tide is
this way,
going
Baba.
out or when it's already
This way.
low, you can't see it walking along that sandbank from one end straight on down to the next. But normally in these areas, we find a lot of oyster catcher birds, sea urchins, sea stars, conchs, and along the greenery, some snowy egret birds or gray heron birds, depending on the weather. Now, a conch can live outside of the water for about 3 days because they have a lot of water trapped on the inner parts of their shell, and they can also live up to be about 65 years old. Now, right now, if you guys look down into the glass, you can be on the lookout for some really dark reds or rich orange specks. So those dark reds and rich orange specks would actually be our fire coral. Now, when snorkeling, you'd be cautioned to steer clear from them because they do leave a nasty burn upon contact. Now, some around marine life, they like to feed on it, so I just like to call it their spicy fluids. Now, the marine life that feed on the fire coral, they would be considered reef fish, and they are not edible. Not because they're poisonous, but because they're protected.
Oh, baby. Look at Mama. Mama has live.
Now, if you guys continue looking down, we'd be able to see some things that are reaching out, trying to give us a high five. They probably look like a lot of light brown tubes.
Yes. That is live one.
Now, the light brown tubes that are reaching up, trying to give us a high five, this right here would actually be our finger coral. Now, just like our limestone coral, they grow upwards,
Yes,
so they
Baba.
also take an air just over 1
You wanna
inch.
see?
Now, also when snorkeling, you'd be cautioned to just look and admire the beauty of the coral instead of
Mama.
touching it, because if you do break off a tiny piece, eventually the
Yeah.
whole thing does die off. Now, the coral here in the
Uh-oh.
Bahamas,
I'm
they are
sorry.
protected, so if you're caught taking a piece of coral right out of the water, you can't spend a 5-year vacation in our prison or
Oh,
pay a
wow.
$10,000 room charge. Now, in
Yes.
some cases, if they caught you on your own boat with
Look
harmful
at you.
chemicals that would bring you a lot of coral, they may also take your vessel away, along with that 5-year vacation, along with that $10,000 room charge. Now, we're entering an area that has a lot of colorful fish and colorful coral. Along those colorful corals,
Thank
we should be
you.
able to see some pink, elliptical, golf ball, soft sea fan, finger, and fire corals. Now, along those colorful fish, we should be able to see